Raketi noroko o. Barake sinina ai tu ela haina shisitika onai. Baraka inuana. Tileno no te eteka. Shive. Dusiera. Hohera kete e naka hohe namaha. Pasilelana. Ko te shike. Ko te elaha amano te kelaha. Ne da shuko. Fishindaito. Rete toshi kalabatosi. Nipa toshi mahayitata. E to toshi kite pahole. Na ito sirebata. Na shikote. Vaho. Na oma. Le holahai koko ola. Bahohena. E here koota. Hera ano. Vahamakone. Doseshe. Ra'a. Mambukotela. E nakai bakukoshikana. A o e. Va ena nikma ku ela akango ke. Nga a kokeke nga a. Inga ai kukukuk na o. We greet you. We, the council of many councils, come into the space through invitation, and we announce that which is our status, our beingness, and that is that we are in this place, in this stage, this platform, to bring to you that which we have been asked to bring forward, not of our own, shall we say, authority or desire to impart. No, we are here by invitation. Invitation of this dear one that we are speaking through, an invitation of that which is her partner, and many others that have the same question in the ether. And so we come and we speak. We also would draw attention to the fact that many in this particular frame, in this particular state of being, consider themselves to be aware, alert, to be within the spectrum of higher consciousness, over and above those around them. And we would say that this message is particularly to those who consider themselves better than, or higher than, vibrationally stronger than others that they would consider not awake, not conscious, not in the flow. And the reason we address it is because not everything that you perceive in your own state of being to be true is true. What you have been told at times may not always be founded in the vibration or the depth of the truth, which comes not from us, not from mankind, not from a galactic source, but it comes, indeed, it comes from that which is beyond the conception, beyond the comprehension of the mind of mankind, of the mind of any starseed. You may find that a little controversial, but we say to you that the mind of the Creator, the divine being, the divine core of all existence, far exceeds the knowledge that you believe that you have an accuracy. And even as we translate what we have received from the divine, to break it down, that the pockets of information that we relay through this vessel, even this is not, shall we say, in its fullest and most powerful exhortation, because we have to interpret and bring it into the enunciation of the human tongue, the English language. And if it were one who was speaking another language, another tongue of this land, it would be exactly the same procedure. It is in this time that we speak not our words, but they are our words. Not our foresight, but indeed our foresight. Because we sit one with the Creator. And we sit as many councils representing the entirety of the greater cosmos, the entirety of that which you would call the macrocosmos. And yet we are in the microcosmos as well. And so we are here to bring insight. Yes, insight into this moment. So we again announce that we are the council of many councils in which sit both the councils of man, and by that we, for those who are easily offended by this terminology of man, it is both inclusive of male and female energies that sit within this council, the council made up of mankind. Then there are councils from Pleiades, Arcturus, Sirius, Zeta, and many other places that you call the basket constellation or the M1. All of these different places that you have labeled with numbers and letters because you cannot conceive the enormity of what these beautiful galaxies are. Solar systems, beautiful pockets of cosmos within the greater blanket of the cosmos. This is who we are all represented. There are, may I say it, those of the constellation Orion. There are Lyrans, there are Vegans, there are, for want of a suitable description, the two-headed ones. There are the Dogons, the Donavians, and many, many other mixed or hybrid councils. Because you must comprehend that the world, as you know it, does not just reside, or the cosmos, the universe, does just not circle around you. There are many, many represented in the great councils, too numerous to number. But we come because White Feather, the group known as White Feather, in the year of 2019 uttered some insights for the coming years, 2020 onward. And one of their markers was by the year 2025, the world would know by which path they were going to be found on. And we would say there is still time in this year of 2024, of what you know 2024, to adjust and to recalibrate so that the 2025 does not present itself in a negatory way. Now, when we say negatory, it is not in such a way that there is death, destruction, and complete annihilation. No, it is more a case that the species known as man, species known as mankind, can potentially be further and further placed in the quandaries or the quadrants of compliance. For yet again, you are going to come into what is monitored by a cycle of years, 4 and 8. And what begins to happen is the first set of 4 will set the parameters of what the next 4 will be. So if what you felt in the last 4 years was painful and you did not stand and you did not, let us just say, push back, and you complied and you suffered for the compliance of what you allowed into your species, then you will find that this will reiterate, it will reproduce itself in a new variation. For there are coming what we will term dark days upon your planet. Because the beginning of this year, which is, shall we say, where we sit now within this period, this end of your March month and the beginning of your April month, the beginning of your year, is to crack open. It is to bring an opening of energy, to allow you to see that there is yet still hope for those that live within this realm. For though let us just call it, the ulterior motive is to insist that the species known as man is earmarked, tattooed, identified through digitalization. There are enough of you to turn that back to choice. If you choose to do it, so be it. If you choose not to do it, so be it. And this can only come about by the standing in integrity and in truth. Now, notice we are not saying resistance. We are not saying pushback. We are not saying protest. Because this has been the earwigs or the irritations of the past 4 years. Does not work. What it does is it makes you open targets to that which is, for want of a better word, the overlords, those who have mastery over you, governance. But for those who come in a position of balance, of peace, of recognizing that there is alternatives in this year of 2024, if they can come from a place where they are not attached to a label. What do I mean by this? What do we, as the Greater Council, mean by this? Well, it is simply this. If you are able to identify yourself as a being of the galactic, a being of the cosmos, a being of the greater complexity known as space, in your language. And you are not a being of the land, the water. And therefore you are, in many ways, one would say, if you are from another culture, another place, and you are residing in a strange land for the purpose of doing business, of negotiating, then you would be a diplomat. And if you fly under the flag of peace, if you fly under the flag of neutrality, and you do not bring warfare into your utterance, and you do not bring warfare into your stance, then there is nothing that can be brought against you. I'm not giving you a teaching on how to do your due diligence, but I am outlining what needs to be observed. Because in the next 4 years, leading you up to the year 2030, you are in for a rocky road. If you decide to move in the compliance of what is placed upon you. And I do not care on what landmass you are hearing this from. It affects all, because it will come in some manner, in some way, in some form. And it will turn even further, male against female, female against female, male against male, child against caregiver, child against their creator, their what you would call mother and father. It will take the adults against the young ones. There will be division like you have never seen division, but it will be subtle. And it will begin, unfortunately, not in the aged, because the aged are being whittled away. It will be not in the youth, because the youth are already conforming, unless they come from a place of stability, of knowing that they are grounded and founded in their truth, because they have those who bore them and created them in their bellies, their wombs, and thus ushered them forth in life. If these ones, their caregivers, have given the offspring a foundation of truth and balance, of what is righteous, then these ones perhaps are not being coerced, not being influenced. But where the attack, if you wish it to be, has already begun, but will be exemplified and multiplied and magnified, will be in the ages of 2 through to 7. Because once they have the mindset of this age, it is very difficult to deprogram it. I do not wish to bring you gloom, but as the spokesperson of the council of many councils, it is a duty, painful, but a duty, to utter these words so that you may hear a side that you perhaps do not want. So that when I utter the side that you do want, you will go, what can I do to bring this about? Because what is being played out is that separation, division, not just by culture, not just by gender or sex, but it is going to be by domicile. They will attempt to create corrals, if you will, or let us use a nice word, a neighborhood that will be isolated from the next neighborhood. And to traverse from one neighborhood to the other will be like traveling from one nation to another nation. And you would have to give notice and prove that you are able to sustain your stay in that neighborhood, that you will not drain the resources of that neighborhood, even if it is but for a day. And this is how they will bring separation in the family unit, in the scholastic, in the friendship, and it will become a place of control. And this place you call Earth. But there again, we must look and we must consider, even though there are many that are aware of this, they do not fully comprehend the concept nor the parameters of what it entails. For you've said, but it's an illusion. Life is but a stage. We're players in our own life story. We're living in a matrix. This is the matrix. But you use these words to express how you feel, but you truly don't want to believe them. Because if you believe the fact in reality that you are in a construct, this is going to be interesting, because even the one I speak through struggles with this concept. And so we will have to monitor if there is anything that triggers for her. It would be interesting to see. But if you say that you are in a construct, if you say you are a bug in the system, that there are those out there that just get on and do, and they just follow orders like a program, and they are what do you call these non-character players? Yes? I beg your pardon?
Non-player characters.
Non-player characters. You're in an illusionary world, a dream within a dream. All of these phrases are birthed from an awareness that has been drip-fed down to you by those who are aware, who are awakened to this knowledge. And I use this word awaken not to dumb down, but to allow you to see that there have been those who have been jolted out of their complying obedience. They have woken up to the fact that they are playing a part in a bigger picture, playing a part in a bigger play than they were fully aware of to begin with. You have had many warning signs, many warning stories that this is what is happening. If you go back and look at your pictorials that are given to you for entertainment, you will see them as far as what you would call the late 80s. Films have been produced that give you a character that stumbles across the truth and sees the alien occupiers or the overlords occupying as looking like you, as looking like humans, but they're draining your resources, your life resource, your energy resource, your world resource. And the reason they are doing it is because they consider you fodder, stock. They consider you beneath them, when in reality they have come upon your world or come up into your world from another realm, and they are devouring what is rightfully yours. And they manipulate you into believing that you are alive and experiencing this, when in reality it could possibly, very well, potentially be accurately described as that you are not here. In reality, you are a character within a game. And when you reach the level of awareness that breaks the spell of sleep, of dull of mind, of the lobotomy that is there to create the, in many ways, the stupidity of mind. Now, get me when I say that there are many that are amongst you that are highly intelligent. Your IQs are off the roof, or off the scale, as they say. And yet, you still cannot comprehend that there may yet be a part of you that is operating from beyond the realm. And you are a reflection of what is going on. Now, that is a very broad spectrum ideal or idea. We could take it in many, many different ways, but I want you to grasp that at this moment, you are nothing more than electrical inputs. You are nothing more than the sum of what you observe. You observe that you are a shade of color. You observe that you have certain clothes. So therefore you believe this is what I am. But who told you that this is what you are? This is what you look like. It is the program that has been running in your body, in your cells, since the pre-born days. Because these same programs were running in those that created you. Now, I am not trying to delete the concept that you are enjoying a good life here, because many of you are. However, I would say that even in those in the most luxurious lives, to those who are living homeless, devastated on the streets, under the bridges, they probably are far more aware of the reality of what is occurring around them. They probably have seen the glitches in the system far, far deeper than those who are living in their palatial homes, wanting for nothing, because the program they run provides everything that they choose, to a degree. But what is this for 2024? Well, 2024 is the year of choice. It's the year of decision. It's the year of finality. Because in 2025, the egg will crack, the shell will break, and you will either be going down the path of compliance. Even for those who desire something different, it will be force-fed It will be in a way where there will have to be a forcible separation, where you will find many breaking away to live lives that do not comply. And it will be perhaps similar to the war stories that you tell yourselves, where you have cells underground, as you call it, hidden from the public eye, hidden from everywhere. And they funnel to safety, to outlying regions, those who do not want to be numbered, because the numbering is very strongly on the cards. Many of you are being forced against your will to fall into line and to comply socially. Otherwise, you will be demerited. You will receive marks against your name that deplete your financial record, that disengage you from society. This is what they want. They want you to behave in a certain way. And 2025 is going to be the compounding year, unless there is a division of state now. And what do we mean by division of state? We do not mean that you pick up arms and you go to battle, make war. No, that is not at all what we're saying, because that never achieves anything. It just brings loss, pain, disillusionment, and it rarely achieves anything. But when you stand in peace, and you stand in that which is the right and the honorable way of negotiation, where you know who you are beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are unattached to your name, that if you were given a choice, your life, the life that you breathe, but you are now disassociated from that which is all of the aspects that have made you up until this point. In other words, you are excommunicado, and you now must go and find a group to exist with, to grow your food from the ground, to gain nourishment from other places, because you choose to do something uniquely different, which is you do not be numbered. And you see, that starts now. See, 2024 is a year where you will see in various countries around the world where certain men or women are going to be raised up to lead. And you will see there is a programming running at the moment that this person or that person is vying for the position. And this person is less than this person. But this person is great because of this and this. But in their greatness, they have led many astray. Their truths are not grounded in truth. So what we're saying to you is, do not be disillusioned, and do not be led by what looks like gold. It is time now more than ever to disassociate yourself from that which is the mechanism of propaganda, whether it is good propaganda or negative propaganda. It is time to disassociate from that machine. It is time to decide for oneself truly what is your truth. This is the time, the year of truth, of going into that which is the deepest place of your existence. and truly seeing if you are the fluidity of energy. Because if I was to say, who are you? You would say, oh, I'm so-and-so. No, you are not a name. Who are you? And so you may say, oh, I am that I am. No, you are not a label. Who are you? And we will continue to ask until you can define for yourself who you are. For some of you, it may be that you finally figure out that you are nothing more than the inhale and the exhale of the life breath of the Creator. But you see, that is not something to besmirch at. It is not something just to go, oh, well, it's okay, I'm just a breath. It's just a breath. It is the life breath of the divine Creator that happens to exist in you, that happens to exist or present in a form that looks to the way you have created your form. But you are not the form. You are the breath. You are the eternal. 2024 is a year that you will come to realize it is far more important to tune into the immortal part of you, to the spirit, connected to the divine, than it is to be connected to the materialistic. Materialistic will lead you astray. Now, there's nothing wrong with having what you need, for living in abundance, as long as the abundance does not own you, but you have control over the abundance. You have control over the creation. The creation doesn't have control over you, because the minute that happens, you're lost, because you will follow that for as long as you can, and you'll lose the soul to gain what you perceive as abundance. But it is a trap. 2024 is a year of changes in the esoteric, in the ether, in the mechanics that run your earth. Those who are observant may already be observing the glitches in what you call your sky, where you begin to see through and see the patterning, the geometry that is the program. Now, I speak of the program because even though I am an energy form, even though I am the voice piece of a great council, within sits thousands of individual councils. You could say to us, but are you not a program? Are you not an illusion? And we would welcome the question. Because you see, we come from outside your construct. We come in a vibration form. Now, your construct is made up of all that you see, hear, taste, touch, smell. What you are informed your construct is to be of. You are led by all that is the education system, the religious system, the cultural system. All of these have been put into play to lead and direct your input into your mindset, your mental computer, that creates an image that is reflected out of you, that you exist in. It's a very clever system, but you can break free of it and use it at the same time. And how do you do this? Education. But not education that comes from the scholastic realm. No. It is going outside. It is breaking free. It is challenging the norm. It is looking at what is and believing that it is. So if it is not there, you go, then why isn't it there? And you create it. You make it occur. Does it happen overnight? Maybe. More often, no. Because it takes for you to train yourself out of one system and into another. There are many ways that you can do this. You must find your own way of doing it that fits your energy, fits your spark of life. 2024 is not a year of just sit back and things are going to be okay. It is a year of decision. It is a year of seeing that you have been led by the nose like a bull with a ring in it. And you can either allow that rope to continue pulling you down a path that you believe you have no control over because it's your destiny to be in this place and you're in a prison planet. Or you can choose to say no more and remove the ring from your nose, as scary as it is, and begin to create and recreate your life as you intuitively and instinctively know that it should be. And we know this to be true, for we hear time and time again, coming through the ethers, coming through the very spectrum of light that penetrates through your construct into many realms. We hear the same thing. It wasn't always like this. It never used to be like this. It was freer when I was younger. I had more choice when I was younger. It was, and so we ask you, when did you change? Not when did it change, but when did you change? When did you become more compliant? When did you become more malleable in the hands of the overlords? So 2024 has just begun. Well, they will tell you it is 3 months in, but it is at its birthing stage or its state of origin. It is breaking open, coming into its youthfulness. What are you to do with this year? Now, many of you watching this may be in what is known as the Americas. I challenge you. If you are looking at a particular individual as a salvation for your land, for your way of being, be careful. What you get may be pleasant to begin with, but in 2 years' time, it may be the beginning of a particular way of being, of ultra-conservativeness that deletes many of your freedoms by saying to you, but there can only be one way for freedom. We must all abide by this set of rules. for the land to be truly free. So be careful, observe, listen. I am not indicating in any way, manner, or form that the alternative is any better. Wouldn't it be interesting if there were 0 votes? What do I mean by that? Or go and cast your voting if you choose to, but make it to the point where there is, what do they call it? A vote of no confidence in either candidate, where there is a complete and utter reshuffle, a complete and utter remake of that which is known to you as the governance. If changes are not considered and implemented for the positive, society as you know it, in the entirety of this world, of this realm known as Earth, it's going to be very difficult to exist in come 30 of your 2030, because there is going to be certain requirements placed upon the inhabitants of this realm that if you do not comply with, they will be forcibly implemented upon you. This may sound hard, may sound made up, as if something is being read out of a playbook. Conspiracy theorist, oh, that's what it is, yes. Dear ones, we say to you, no. Many of the things that have been spoken about have come to a form of fruition, where people are saying, this is what was said in 2019. This is what was said in 2020. This is what was said in 21 and 22 and 23. And look, it's all come true. Tinfoil people, yes? This is what you call those who have these theories. We say to you, it is more than a theory. This earth realm is on a road that, by, let us say, in all sincerity, in the year 2046 to 2049, but definitely by 2050, you're going to see such changes, devastations, that many in existence today will willingly leave this planet. Leave it. In other words, they will take their lives, they will be killed, they will die, whether it's through starvation, through war, through many different ways that are being implemented against them. But most of them will be destroyed by the changes that come upon the surface of this land. Now, I am projecting quite some time down the line, but there will come an event that will change the physical form of your world, to the point where once there were mountains, may be valleys, once where there's seas, may be land, once where there was plenty of water, there is none. And what would be breathable air on top is gone. And you are all forced to go inward into the caves, into the tunnels, into the cities below the surface, and create lives for yourselves there. And yes, this has been done before. Hundreds, not thousands of years ago, definitely in the hundreds. There have been events that have begun to shake and mold the surface of your world. And these are set in place in many ways to prepare you for something that is coming, to get you used to it. So when something does happen, it's not going to be a shock. It'll be a shock, it'll be devastation, but you'll be going, but it's just an earthquake. It's just a flood. It's just, instead of, oh, what is happening? Oh my God, I need to get out of here. I need to leave this place. I need to go where it is safe. Now you could say to me, what does that have to do? 2046, 2049, 2050, what has all of that got to do with 2024? Well, let me tell you. As I said, this is a year of change. It's a year of decision. It's a year where you wake up. Not just, oh, I'm consciously awake. Oh, I'm in the spirit realm. Oh, I'm not talking about a new ager or a conscious person. I am saying to you, it is time that you awaken to the realization that the input that has been given to you to create the world within your existence is given to you by stimuli, by very subtle means, subliminally. And you have to realize that you have the choice to change it. You can say no more. And then you begin to actively think, actively change the thought patterns. You put down, let us just raise a few things. Put down the newspaper. Put down the TV control. Put down the news. Put down the media. Put away the electronics. Apart from what you actually have to use to interact, to create. And you begin to actually use critical thinking again. You use the computer that was given you, that was installed within your avatar, within your being, your meat-suit. And you align that brain, that computer, with that which is the immortal spirit within you, which is a powerhouse, which is a driving energy that does not need to have fuel. It is perpetual energy. When you connect that to your thoughts and your brain, and you start to think critically about life and what life actually means, not what you can get from it, but what it means and how it unfolds and what it is to be alive, not just existing, but to be alive. See, there is a difference. 2024 could potentially be your year of definitive expansion. This year is going to bring you to the brink. Some of you are going to be so devastated with certain events that happen in this world that you're not going to believe it could happen again. It's not going to happen. How could this be? Whether you are liberal or not, whether you are democratic or not, whether you are Tory or not, whether you are Labour or not. These are labels that you all have placed upon yourself like little badges that you wear with pride, because it identifies who you are. It gives you meaning. What would it be if in 2024 you took your labels off? You seriously took your labels off and you became men and women in existence together, determined to define for yourselves as a species what it is to be alive. Let's bring something a little closer to home. You have an eclipse coming. And this eclipse is traveling through certain cities, all familiar names, or similar names, or identical names. And some of you have begun to notice an increased amount of, let us just say, enforced personnel. Why are they there? Some of you may not have noticed it, and that's fine. But there are some that are there. In some places, they have been increasing the number of the enforcers. Why? What is going to happen on this eclipse that they feel they need to have extra enforcers? Is it because that perhaps there is going to be a glitch in the system, that those who are seeing this play out, this eclipse that is being pre-programmed and pre-made to play out on this day, but what they did not take into consideration is that it may activate certain things in the planet and above the planet, in your firmament and in your ground, to the point that those that see it, hear it, observe it, may become riotous, panicky, scared, and want to run from what they see. Now, I am not saying, and hear me, I am not saying this is going to happen. I am saying, could it be? Potentially, there is something afoot. Something does not, shall we say, sit right in our energies with this eclipse. It is not what we would call a natural occurrence. It has been constructed in some way. You would say to me, but how can a natural thing of the sun circulating around, how can it do that? How can the earth and the sun and the moon and all the things that take place, how can that be man-made? I hope that was a fictitious question, because you do know that your moon is a satellite. You do know that it has been placed there, replacing the original moon that was, shall we say, destroyed many hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. Many of your ancients will tell stories of how there was no moon. There was a time before the moon, and then all of a sudden, it grew in the sky and it stayed stationary. You only see one side of it. You never see it orbiting. And let us put something to you, the size of your earth and the size of the moon and the closeness of that which they say, these two planets should not be in the same vicinity. It is illogical. Look at all the other planets that they place around you with the orbits and the pull of the energies and the magnetics, etc., etc. It does not make sense, scientifically or logically. But hey, we are just energy. We are just those who are observing from a higher perspective, and we have seen many things occurring. We say to you, this realm is being manipulated. Observe. Be alert. Be on guard. Don't be scared. Be exhilarated that you are at the cusp for yourself, if you choose to disconnect from something that has been controlling you your entire life with your permission. Take the label off with your Labor, Liberal, Democrat, Republican, Tory, Labor, Green, whatever. Whatever label you've put yourself on a political level, take it off. And then go down to the next level. What other label is there? I'm a this and I'm a that. I'm a CEO, I'm a CFO, I'm a this, I'm a that. Take the label off. Come back to your origins of being. Come back to the very central core of being a man, living man, being a woman, a living woman. In the year of 2024, it could be for you potentially the make or break year. So that as you move into 2025, then into 2026, you are not moving in a cognitive compliance, but you are moving in as living beings, living creations, alive unto yourself. What is it to be alive? Do you know? And this is what it is all about. Your abundance that you seek is so readily available to you once you disconnect from the program. Because the program is telling you that only certain people deserve to be rich and others deserve to work their asses off, as you say. Or to put it in a different way, you have to work every daylight hour, or sometimes every hour that you can, daylight or night, to earn enough to pay your bills. And even some of you are working 2 or 3 or 4 jobs. And because you work so many, they deduct from you. Oh, you have to pay this much tax, and you have to pay this much tax, and because you're earning this much, you have, and so they deduct from you your sustenance. Why? When you, because, and we say why, because you have believed for so long that you have to do this. Because they dictate to you what it is that you have to do. But what if you chose, I don't need palatial accommodation. I just need to have a roof over my head. I need places for my children to lay their head down. I need a place for my partner and I to lay our heads down. I need clothes on their backs, food in the kitchen, and somewhere for them to play. What if that's all you needed? And you could find that in a smaller place. And you began to mix with other people who came to the same conclusion that to be alive is not to be stupendously, altruistically seen by all, to be successful. But it is to be successful in oneself, to create with oneself. And yes, if you are in a place where in your living awareness knowledge of critical thinking brings you into a place of great abundance, that yes, you can choose to be in opulence or not, but it is coming from a place of knowing who you are, not because you are having to do something because somebody dictates it. There is a difference. And those who can tap into the abundance that is freely available to every living soul, they are able to access it. Then again, there are those that live and rule their lives through deception. And they gain by deception. And you tell me, so what's the difference? The difference is this: they are not alive. They are in a loop. Because the minute they stop their deception, their assumed wealth, their assumed popularity, their assumed life disappears. And they are nothing more than the person they started out as before they came into agreement with that which dictates their rules of abundance, their rules of obedience, their rules. 2024 is a year of choice. It is a year where you discover who you are. It is a year for removing the labels. It is a year to recognize that you are in the seat of decision. You are driving the vehicle, so to speak. Are you going to shift gear? Are you going to move lane? Are you going to begin to become aware of the vehicle that you are driving and what actually needs for its sustenance, for its well-being, its longevity? Or are you going to just plod along? It's the year of choice. Coming before you after 2024 are many years where you will begin to see the breakdown of society. On one hand, it will become very driven by elitists, by numbers, by identification. And those that have complied and those that have allowed themselves to buy into this fact that they need to have an identification, to swipe, to prove who they are, to purchase, to sell, to live. They will be in one area. They will be in a place of perceived opulence because they will have what their masters give them. Two levels of degree. And then there will be those that will strike back in a manner of speaking, and they will go, in my truth, this is not who I am. I will not use it. I will not do this. And they will find themselves denied at the shopping centers. They will find themselves denied at various other places because they do not have this mark, this identification. It amazes me that there are religious texts that many, for hundreds of years, followed so diligently, warning against the mark of the beast. But in this century, since the 20s, yes, what you call the 20s, or the 2000s, the noughties, yes. Since then, there's been a remarked removal from this way of thought. Not that I am condoning or pushing this religious way, but it strikes me, and it strikes many of us here, that there was a warning that in those days it will take a day's salary to buy a loaf of bread. And there was another warning that those who took the mark of the beast would be mocked. Because if they did not have it, they would not be able to do commerce. And those who did not take the mark of the beast would be pushed aside. They would have nothing. They would be hunted. And forced to take the mark. Strange how that belief system has been pushed out to the wayside to make room for new belief systems, new ways of being. And it's all been bubbling up in this, we are the same, there is no difference between us, pot that you have been cooking in. And yet they present you in various countries without a choice. They're saying you will have this identification, this social credit, this way of proving who you are, or you will not be able to function. Funny, I see similarities. So perhaps in some ways we are remarkably in the end times. Perhaps it's not the end times more than the end days or years. Now, I'm not saying this to create a fear, but I am asking you to become aware, become alert, to begin to consider critically that all that you are being given and shown by those that are said to be in power to protect you and guide you and look after you as a nation, whichever nation you belong to, may not have your best interests at heart. It is time to return to the heart. It is time to return to the awareness that you are a spiritual, eternal being who happens to be sojourning in this realm. And herein is the catch. As long as you forget that you are sojourning, as long as you forget that you are here for a bit, for a moment, and you buy into this lie that you are just a mere human, and you have 70 to 80 years, 120 at the most to live, then you die and that's it. If you buy into that lie, you are going to be recycled and recycled and recycled and recycled. And yes, then this does become a prison planet for you. Because you will recycle until you come back to the bottom of the mountain and you look at the mountain and you say, I have done this journey umpteen times and I'm over it. I don't want to go round the mountain again. I choose to go over it. That is a time where you, as the living being, remember that you are a conscious, eternal being. Happen to be here for whatever reason you originally chose that you may have forgotten, and that's fine. But now it is the time to stop going with the flow, so to speak, and begin to be like a little salmon that goes, I'm going upstream. Now, I'm not, in many ways, I am not saying that you are to break pattern with going with the flow of the universe, going with the flow of the creator to create that which is in the flow of that which is the abundance, of that which is life, of that which is. What I am saying is go against the flow of what you have been dictated to, of what you have been told is your state in life. What you have been told you must do or you will die. You must do this or you will be in lack. You will do this or you will be, Go against the education that is in your system, in your cells. Detox from that. Waken to critical awareness within you and come back to you, the immortal heart that is deposited here from the Creator. The divine has placed divinity in you. But that divinity is untouched, unawakened, as long as you sit believing everything that is put in front of you on the stage of life, and you partake in it, and you eat it, and you become part of the game, part of the lie. When you say no, you change that cycle, you change that pattern, you change the very DNA within you. 2024 is a year of choice, decision-making, of becoming who you are, of letting go of the label. You are not your name. You are not your identification mark. You are not your family name. You are not the face in the mirror. Who are you? You are the breath. You are the energy. You are the immortal part, the soul, the spirit within that is connected to the divine creator. In this year, you can make a difference that will have a knock-on effect to that which is coming. It will affect the changes that are being looked at to set in place in the 2025, 2026 through to 2030. You still have chance. You still have time to turn things around. It's time. 2030 was given to these two that are here on the beach of Lyell Bay in New Zealand in the year 2010, where this plan was laid out, etched into the sand by the one known as Safita, or Adamus, as he was then. That the years to look out for was, back then it was 2012, then it was 2015, and then it was 2019, 2020, then 2025, and then 2030. And the statement made then was, if by 2030 the world had not chosen correctly, this would be a very sorry place to be in existence for those who do not wish to be enveloped into the mental arena, into the inorganic world. That was the message back then. We look at what they were given back then, and they were like, well, what do we do with it? Who do we tell? What do we... They hadn't started their journey yet, but this was the information that was coming through. And yet here we sit in 2024, a few short moments from 2025. And I say a few short moments because I guarantee you, you will get up from this message and you will forget it. You'll forget it. Or you will forget majority of it. And over time, you'll remember things. You come back to it. You'll re-listen to it. But we ask you, will you, like so many other times, come to the last few months of the known year and go, oh my God, if only I had done this sooner. If only I had done this back then, we wouldn't be where we are today. I wouldn't be where I am today. We see this played out time and time again, because there is one thing you cannot get back, my friends, and that is time. Because time does not exist anywhere else in the greatest spectrum of the cosmos except for here. But you see, in this place, you will be distracted. And 2024 is going to be a year of distraction, because they will distract you with whatever they can to push their agenda through. So be observant. Because if they can get you playing games, if they can get you arguing, if they can get you into drama, to distract you from your true purpose, they have won. And you will wake up again 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now, and you'll go, oh my God, if only I had listened, if only I had done, but I'm going to do it now. And as soon as you do that, there will be more distractions for you sent your way by the program around you, because it will register that you have again woken up a little bit, realized something, but they know that if they can distract you with other things, that you will forget again. Which is why I say, if you do not need it for the creation at hand, put your electronics down. Go back to using pen and paper. If you want to write to somebody, write to them. Use the scribe effect. Unless you absolutely need an instantaneous answer, pick up the phone. Have a conversation. It's time to become real again and to disconnect from the wiring of the illusionary world that has been plugged into you. Stop complaining that things aren't the way they used to be, and start waking up to life and becoming life again. Disconnect from your gaming machines, because all they are doing is training you to be lost in a virtual world that they want to implement you into. And yes, while it might not happen today or tomorrow or the next day, it will happen. We've given you markers. We've given you dates. It's time to start being aware, to observe what is happening in the arena around you. What is happening in the circus that is being played out around you to entertain you, to keep you occupied? Well, something else is playing out. It is time, if you are desirous of knowledge, to go and find knowledge from the books that were written before your masters became clever and deleted and book burned. It is time to find the stores and the libraries and the places where your antiques are kept, and find the books that will educate you. Because if you choose to remove the labels, you may have more than just 10 days of darkness. You may have a new existence without electronics, without Wi-Fi, without all of this, because you will choose to exist outside it. And this may make you feel horrific and be an absolute horrifying thought for you, but you existed in it before. Why can you not do it again? 2024 is indeed a time where there has already been great pressures and great stresses upon the sanity of many beings in this realm. It is not, unfortunately, going to lessen. And so for you not to be broken under the energetic pressure that has been heightened in this realm, that has been forced in many ways, compressed, you need to return to self. Now, the pressure will pop and you will feel it. And you will think, oh, this is great, everything's back to normal now. No, it just means that you've got used to that level of pressure. You are still under stress. Your bodies are still under stress and pressure, and you will still see them reacting to that. And what will happen is the next layer of pressure will come about, and it will be heavier. And things will start to work in such a way that you will have to resist, you'll have to push back, you'll have to breathe, you'll have to go through all of these things again to cope, because you are connected to what it is created from, which is why we are saying now to disconnect as much as you can. Only use what you need. If you do not need the internet on, turn it off. If you do not need your phone with you, leave it behind. If you are able to go back to having a copper wire handset in your house, how quaint, do so. If analog is good enough for your governments and your military of all types, if they will not use your new modern Wi-Fi and new modern digital because it's not reliable, and they prefer to keep analog and ham radios, and they forbid you to, have you asked why? Or are you so enamored and so encapsulated in the ease and throw away society that they have created for you with the gifts of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and digital, that you forget that these things are traps, hooks for you to become addicted to. Again, we are not here to try and bring a sense of low energy, but we are presenting you with that which is in many ways an undeniable truth, an uncomfortable truth. I believe this terminology was used many years ago about your climate, which is still the same. They will use whatever distraction to keep you in a place where you will forget who you are, where you will not remember where you are from. And so it is up to us to remind you, to ask you to remember who you are. For many of you, you have come from within this planet. Your ancestors, your forebears came from within the earth. It is time to remember who you are and how you lived before your mind was captured and imprisoned by the gadgets and the virtual reality of this world. If you want to know what is coming for you in the future, then this year of 2024, starting now, in this beginning of your year, it is up to you to choose to release your labels and to step into the awareness of life, to ask yourself, who am I? Not who am I, why am I here, and what am I supposed to do with my life? But who am I? As if I was standing in you with the entirety of the council behind me, asking you, who are you? Who are you? No, not your name, not your label. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And when you realize who you are, that will give you the empowerment to stand awakened, aware, in balance. And begin to create from life, not from death, but from life, because you will disconnect from that which is draining your immortal energy, draining your heart energy, draining your physical energy. Disconnect. Go and become who you are meant to be this year. Now remember, I didn't say go and live in the caves and become Stone Age man, yes, which didn't exist, by the way, but I'm using that as an example. But we are asking you to become cognizant of who you are, to become conscious and in control of who you are, to take back ownership of who you are, to decide when and where you use what is around. You see, the great thing about realizing who you are, you realize that you're not created of this world. You're not manufactured from this world. You just happen to be here. You happen to be here in a spacesuit to help you navigate this realm until you've got from point A to point B, and you can shed this spacesuit and exit to that place where you know you are meant to be. And believe me, when you are that aware of what you're doing and who you are, this realm and those that are trying to control it will not want you here. So they will allow you, they will, in fact, encourage you by expelling you out of the dimension into the dimension you are wishing to exist in, which is the reality. No longer trapped here. This part of your energy, this part of your consciousness, no longer trapped here because you become awake. If there is anything that this year does for you, we hope that it is that you become aware in that arena of consciousness. We will leave it at that, for we know that we can speak for many, many hours, and for us it is simply just conversation. But for you it is mind numbing, the information overload. So we will leave it with this, and we may yet return with a part 2 or a part 3 or a part 4. We do not know yet. We are considering and we are looking. But this is your time to make this year a year that is significant for you. Do not be led by your labels, by your attachments, by your emotions. Disconnect from all of these and allow yourself to come back to the heart. Allow yourself to come back to the truth of who you are. Identify here who you are. And not, when I say here, I am just not referring to your heart space. I'm referring to the immortal part of you, where that immortal part of you reawakens, reactivates, reminding the conscious body, the conscious energies within you of who you are and where you come from and what it is to be alive. And we leave it at that. We are the council. We are the council of many councils. It has been a privilege and a pleasure to bring this information to you. Thank you.